My name is Shauna Lawyer Studi, and I am a writer by trade and career-wise. That's been most of my work. I've actually had a pretty wide-ranging career, but it's all kind of connected. So I worked in foster care and adoption. So I did that, and of course got a real good look at what it's like for people who are living in poverty. Mm-hmm. So that's always influenced the way that I look at the world. The other thing that is, I think, probably unique about my background is that when I was growing up, my dad, who was a minister, was a missionary in Nigeria, West Africa, and this was in the early 60s, and we in Nigeria had just gained their independence from Britain. It was 4 when we went over there, and I was 9 when we came back. You pick up things, and I absorbed a lot about different cultures, and we traveled in Europe on our way to and from Nigeria. So people talk about how great travel is for kids to teach them about cultures and teach them about diversity, and I totally agree with that. So when I left social work, I was just really burned out. It was a very difficult job for a lot of different reasons. But I kind of migrated into public relations and marketing and communications. And the way that's related is because all those things are about the way people think and about how we frame and position. In 2009, I'm not know if you're familiar with the transition movement and sustainability, but it's an international movement based in collaborative, self-organizing framework. I was a co-founder of that group, and we worked so hard for the first 3 or 4 years, and I hope it always been that the group would expand, but the model didn't actually work out the way that, for us at least, it did in some other places. So it ended up just being the same group of people doing it over and over again, and we got burned out. I think everybody got burned out. And I've seen that in every sustainability group that I've worked with. People burn out. And if you're going to be an all-volunteer, especially if you're going to be an all-volunteer organization, it's really important to practice self-care. So what I do now is I really try to engage my analytical side of my brain and say, how much can I do? And how much do I want to do? And the minute that I find myself feeling like dreading it, that's the cue to me that it's time to take a step back and relax my brain. But I kind of migrated into public relations and marketing and communications. And the way that's related is because all those things are about the way people think and about how we frame and position issues. So the background in social work and research methods and behavioral statistics worked there too. And I had always wanted to be a writer anyway, so that was kind of what I did. Right now what I do is I'm a teaching artist for the Arts Council of Oklahoma City. It's very part-time, but I go to a variety of schools. They're all public schools in one way or another. So right now this semester I'm teaching at Cricket Oak School, elementary school on the south side of Oklahoma City, in their after-school program, and then Lighthouse Charter School, which is a nonprofit charter school on the south side. I have been doing that going on. I guess I'll be starting my 4th year, getting ready to start my 4th year doing that. Stories, and one of the first cover stories I ever did for the Oklahoma Gazette was on the water situation in Oklahoma. This was like 1991 or 1992, and it was titled "When Will the Well Run Dry?" And it was really about the Ogallala Aquifer, which underlies the Great Plains, most of the Great Plains and how it's diminishing at a rapid rate and it's non-replenishable. So that really opened my eyes to what we were facing. And climate change was already being talked about then. But it, not just climate change, but also the chemicals that we use on the land and how that can contaminate our groundwater. And so that really opened my eyes. And I just kept reading. As a journalist, the more that I covered it, the more concerned I became. When I left the corporate world in 2001 and decided to go into journalism on a more full-time basis, I still had to work another part-time job because journalists don't make any money. But I did a lot of environmental coverage for the Gazette, and I covered everything from climate change to, regulations about stormwater runoff. And I just realized how much trouble we were in. The more I read, the more concerned I became. So eventually that translated, once I left journalism, into more advocacy and activism and sustainability, into the sustainability movement, which was really nascent in 2000 to 2003. So I was kind of there in the beginning. I started covering it as a journalist and then switched over to advocacy. I was raised in a very conservative, fundamentalist Christian environment, and the message was that when you grew up, if you were a woman, that you got married and that you were basically in service to your husband to support him in his career, that your needs came second, almost, pretty much, and not in a way that, in my household at least, it was never, because my dad was very loving, but that was it was the patriarchal order. So it took me a long time to come out of that, looking back on it. So relationships are really important because they will either feed you to be the activist or advocate that you want to be, or they will be a barrier to hindrance. So what I would say, and because they're such an important part of who we are, I think it's really important to recognize that when you're building a personal relationship. Because what feeds me is that, and it's not just him, but I have a terrific partner. I have a terrific partner who has done nothing but support me. He's one of the best feminists I know. So he, I think that's really critical. Have a whole relationship, because then you're going to find your way in being an advocate and an activist. You will figure out what's important to you. You will find your passion. It may change through the years. It probably will evolve. But that relationship, that key relationship, that can stay with you. If you have a relationship with someone that supports you and encourages you, and that is based in equality. It's based in compassion. I think that, I don't want to cry about that, but it really bothers me, the lack of compassion that we have for each other. And I'm as guilty of it as anybody else. I don't hold myself up on a pedestal. I don't think I'm greater than anybody else, or more perfect, or have a, I could point out all the mistakes I've made in my life. I do have regrets about things that I've done. There are plenty of situations I didn't handle well. And most of the time, when I didn't handle them very well, it was because my ego got in the way, and I wasn't listening, and I wasn't being compassionate. So